and welcome to Would I Lie to You, the show with naked truths and well-dressed lies. On David Mitchell's team tonight, I'd typically do a joke here about his Cockney roots, but I don't think that's appropriate. And besides, I don't want to mug him off. It's Danny Dyer! And a comedian who did Hispanic studies at university, partly so he could learn about the rich culture, but mainly because they were allowed a siesta in the afternoon. It's John Richardson. And on Lee Mack's team tonight, she's the first voice I hear when I wake up in the morning. Insert your own joke. It's Moira Stewart. And a comedian who provided the voiceover for ITV2's Magaluf Weekender, a sweaty, loud mecca for unpleasant, horny teenagers. ITV2 is available on most Freeview boxes. It's Joe Lycett. And so we begin with round one, Home Truths, where our panellists each read out a statement from the card in front of them. Now, to make things harder, they've never seen the card before. They've no idea what they'll be faced with. And it's up to the opposing team to sort the fact from the fiction. And John is first up.
On a camping trip, I won an award for having the tidiest tent, even though I'd wet my sleeping bag.
These team.
True. Was this as a child or was this recently?
No, I was a child.
How old were you?
I guess I was about 6 or 7.
And was it the Scouts?
No.
What was it?
It was the Woodcraft Folk.
What? The Woodcraft Folk? What kind of organisation is that?
It's like the Scouts.
Is it literally about going away to craft wood, to make things out of wood? Is it more about just generally lighting fires and...
It's woodcraft in a more general sense.
What exactly is woodcraft in a general sense?
It's, well, you know...
How do we know, John? 'Cause I don't think you know.
It's... wood...
Do you want to change the name of the organisation?
That's what they say at every meeting of the Woodcraft.
So the woodcraft folk, they head off into the wood together, they find a clearing, they set up camp, and what sort of things do they do?
We might spot birds, we might rub trees.
Do you ever spot trees and rub birds?
Only if you don't want to get your tree rubbing and bird spotting badges.
So there are badges?
Yes?
Okay.
Yes, there were badges.
What badges do you have?
Well, first badge would be sewing badge, obviously, otherwise all subsequent badges would fall off. Then...
Bird spotting.
Bird spotting badge.
Tree rubbing.
Tree rubbing.
Tree rubbing was just to chill out. It can't all be about getting badges.
All right, how many people were in the competition of tidiest tent?
15?
Did you just suddenly go back to childhood with that?
15.
That's more like it. So, 15 kids, all trying to have the tidiest tent.
Well, not exclusively, but we stayed in tents, and to instill an atmosphere of tidiness, every morning there would be tent checks.
Tent checks.
And whoever's tent was the tidiest would be
How
rewarded.
many boys per tent?
Not just boys. Boys
Whoa,
and girls.
hang on a minute. These were mixed tents.
I shared a tent with my sister, who was also in the Woodcraft Folk.
How did the other woodcraft folk react to it?
They never found out.
Did your sister find out?
Yeah. She was aware, yes. She was one of the first to be aware.
Do you think they gave you the prize to sort of patronise you, because they felt sorry for you?
A prize is a prize.
So other than the swampy conditions, it was very nice and very tidy.
Yes, the tent was very tidy because everything was outside drying off.
What do you think, Lee? Is he telling the truth?
I don't know. What do we think, Moira?
I think it's true.
You do?
Yeah.
Why do you think it's true?
He looks like a bedwetter.
Well, I know that.
thing is, when you say it, it sounds like news.
Joe?
I think it's probably true,
You're
yeah.
going around to true as well. We'll say true, then.
He's going to say true. OK, John, truth or lie?
Why would I admit on telly to such a true...
Yes, it's true. John did win an award for the tidiest tent, even though he'd wet his sleeping bag. Joe, you're next.
OK. If I'm ever walking alone at night, I call out the name of an imaginary dog to deter any muggers.
David's team.
What's the name of the dog?
Brian.
As if it's going to be a vicious dog, it would be Brian, wouldn't it? Definitely.
Do you think a would-be attacker would, from the tone that you say Brian, know that you mean a dog and not a Brian?
To me, it sounds like you'd be calling a, you know, a middle-aged civil servant to you.
Well, it's because I read an article written by Darren Brown in which he said if you're in a situation where things look like they're getting a bit choppy, if you do something unusual, the other person is so sort of freaked out by that that they generally stop doing what they're doing if they're being a very...
How do you shout? Imagine I'm a terrifying would-be assassin.
You know, in your whole panel, maybe you're not the first choice for that role.
John, imagine if John was... so, all right, imagine Danny is a terrifying would-be assassin.
Yes.
And go for it.
Brian.
You don't want to attack me now, do you?
No, that's terrifying to me. Is it just someone comes up to you at night, you know, mates ask you for the time, you go, Brian, you just flip out, or is it a general mugging?
I like you, Danny.
Everyone's got their own showbiz personas, and you and Danny completely gone for different ones, haven't you?
I think we're very similar in many
Yeah, no,
ways.
I do.
We're lovers.
Danny, stay calm, please. Stay calm down, calm
Oh,
down.
you had to start shouting Brian.
Just say, Joe, you're playing with fire there. I'm leaving.
I'm feeling this one.
You think it's
I
true?
Read a Darren Brown book for a start. He's that sort of...
I believe the Darren Brown article, but the whole point of that is that you say something random that sort of puts people off their stride, whereas you're going for something specific, calling upon a dog called Brian to come to your aid. But that's immediately disprovable. The absence of Brian is immediately evident. Whereas calling upon Brian, they're going to go, Brian? Oh, there's no Brian. Fine.
My big sticking point is still, if you were trying to create the illusion that you had a dog, why you would give it a person's name.
Yeah.
Would you shout dog?
You'd shout like...
Dog. Rover or Fido.
That would be good. If he had a dog called Dog, that would... Dog! Dog!
What would you call him, John? Rambo,
Well,
Tyson?
my defence is slightly different. I would wet my pants.
So, what are you thinking, David?
John.
I don't believe it.
Danny,
So I think it's true.
you think it's true?
I think he's that... Yeah.
Now I have to make a decision. My gut is that it's not true.
Let's go no then. Let's have a lie.
Let's say lie.
You're going to say lie.
Yeah.
OK. Joe, truth or lie?
It was a lie.
Yes.
Yes, it was a lie all along. Joe doesn't call out the name of an imaginary dog to deter muggers. Danny, you're next.
It's a possession.
All right, OK, there's a box under the desk. Now, if you could, first of all, read the card out that's in the box.
All right.
And then take out the possession and pop it on the desk.
Last year, on a visit to the zoo... I've been to a zoo, you know what I mean? Last year, on a visit to the zoo, I put on a mask so that no one recognised me. This is that mask.
But no need to be quite so aggressive, Ainsley.
Could you put it on your face, please?
Yeah, no, I'll
Danny?
whack it on you, of course.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let me have a look. Now, can I just hear you say 2 ice creams, please?
Can I get a couple of ice creams?
Excuse me, open up mind me asking, but aren't you Danny Dyer wearing the zebra? So, OK, now...
Can I take it off now?
Yes, of course you can. Of course you can.
So where did you get that mask from?
Huh?
You
Where
were,
did I
don't
get
buy
it?
for time.
I'm not buying for time. No, I bought it at the zoo, didn't I? Well, where do you think I bought it? Look at it.
So did you plan before you went to the zoo not to be recognised? That was always part of the plan?
No, you never know, really. You go out with your kids and that, you know,
And then when you got to the zoo, you decided to...
Well, it was on me, and...
What was on you?
Like people.
People were on you?
Not on me,
No, but I
jumping
mean
on-
giving you the...
Driving me mad,
Yeah.
right? Nice people, it's all love and all that, but I needed to do something about it because, you know, me little one was getting the hump. You know, I was trying to look at the... You know,
Look at the
giraffes,
animals.
a drugged-up giraffe. The giraffe didn't look well, to be honest with you.
You've been around the zoo a bit, you're getting a bit of grief, you've had enough, you go to the gift shop. Any reason why you chose a child's one? Because it looks very small on your head, that night.
It was just the first one I picked up. I needed to get one on Lively. I actually bought it, you know, with it on. Do you know what I mean? I whacked it on.
You didn't even want the person selling you it to recognise you. Did she not scream and say, we've got an escapee?
Danny, where is this zoo?
It's round the corner from me. It's in Essex. It's only a little number. You know, there's a couple of rabbits in there. I mean, you know...
Did you go and see the zebras?
It didn't have any. Not a zebra about them.
Well, you say that. You sure they weren't wearing a Danny Dyer mask?
No, yeah. Well, there was one, wasn't there? Yeah, there was one. There was one. I was disappointed. I ain't gonna lie. Felt bad for her, you know. I took her out on a day out and I took her to a moody zoo. I mean, it wasn't...
Moody zoo?
A moody zoo. You know, I really promised. I said, listen, babe, me and you were going to go out and have a lovely day. And I took her to see a couple of rabbits and a moody giraffe, you know what I mean? So, in general, you know, it was a bit of a letdown.
Do you mind just one more time placing that
Yeah,
on?
I'd love to put it on. Love to.
It's very small. I reckon that I could recognise you from the voice and what's showing on the face.
Yeah. Was this before you were on EastEnders or afterwards?
This was before.
So you weren't being mobbed loads?
Well, still getting it a bit, you know what I mean? A lot of my fans... Can I take this off again now?
I wish you would, yes. Yes, I'm a little disturbed.
No, you know, a lot of my fans hang out in zoos, so... So, you know...
So what do we think, Maura?
I think he is so cool that he can do other things rather than wear a zebra mask.
To stop the attention?
People, yes. And
Like what?
saying, hey, no. I think he can get...
So hang on. So is that what you do when people ask for photos? Excuse me, are you Moira Stewart? Oh, no.
So what's it going to be,
So
Lee?
Moira says it's a lie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's probably
Sure.
a lie.
You say lie? OK.
Yeah, a lie, yeah, a lie.
I'll go with my team and say lie, then.
You're going to say lie? OK. Danny, truth or lie?
It's the truth.
Yes, it's true. Danny did wear a mask, so he wouldn't be recognised at the zoo. Our next round is called This Is My, where we bring on a mystery guest who has a close connection to one of our panellists. This week, each of Lee's team will claim it's them that has the genuine connection to the guest, and it's up to David's team to spot who's telling the truth. So please welcome this week's special guest, Charlotte. So, Joe, what is Charlotte to you?
This is Charlotte. In the evenings, I like to relax by watching videos of her wrapping gifts on YouTube.
Right. Moira, how do you know Charlotte?
This is Charlotte. She does such a good impression of me that I once let her pretend to be me on Radio 2 and no one noticed.
And Lee, what is your relationship with Charlotte?
This is Charlotte, and she's my judo instructor. And she told me off recently when she caught me having a pint in my judo kit just before a tournament.
Before a tournament? Oh, that's the very worst time to be drinking, isn't it?
David, where do you want to start?
Well, Joe, that sounds like one of the creepiest things I've ever heard. You watch her on YouTube wrapping presents.
Yes.
Why?
Because she's very good at it.
That is not an explanation. That's why you might ask her to wrap presents for you. not observe her doing it?
Well, no, what she does it... she takes great care over the way she's doing it. And it...
So she's slow?
She's slow and
so not very good at it. So...
Joe, how long does it take Charlotte to wrap a present, would you say?
In the videos, I think it's about half an hour.
Half an hour per present? What are these presents?
Is she wrapping a tank? I mean...
Why did you initially think, what I need to relax is to watch someone wrapping presents on my computer?
Well, since I've been a child, I've had this weird sensation when I watch people with bits of paper, particularly, where I get this lovely, like, tingling in the back of my head. And I remember it when my grandmother was doing some paperwork and she licked her finger and turned a page and it made me feel really, really lovely.
The saddest thing is the idea that when you used to go around to your grandparents' house as a child, she used to do her paperwork while you were there. I mean, mine used to take me out, they'd maybe cook lunch. Yeah. Joe's coming round, brilliant. I've got some receipts I need to go through, so...
Do you think that what you're saying, John, is that because of the years of neglect that Joe suffered as a child, he's come to substitute paperwork for love?
It's a relaxing thing. It's like having a massage rather than, like, a sexual thing. It's not a...
Opening, I understand. I understand a video of someone getting a present and watching the joy. Watching someone wrap a present, do you get to see who opens it? Or it just gets wrapped and that's the end?
I suppose you could play it backwards, couldn't you?
All right, David, who else would you like to question?
Moira, she's the best... She does the best impression of you ever.
Absolutely.
And how did you find this out?
I walked in on the production team on the floor, 2 floors down from my studio, and she happened to be in mid-rap.
She was rapping then.
Oh, she was rapping.
Can I just remind you of who's saying what?
She was in mid-imitation.
Right, OK.
So she works at the Beeb?
Yes, she's a researcher.
Right, OK.
So she was mimicking you
Yes.
behind your back?
So really, taking a liberty, really, in a way.
Having a giggle.
And you rewarded her by whacking her... Not whacking, sorry. You rewarded her by putting her on your show. That was
Not my show. It was the Chris Evans
Chris
breakfast
Evans' show.
Yeah.
So she actually read a bit of your bulletin
Yes.
on his show.
His idea.
Oh, it was his idea? Yep. He's a little imp, isn't he? So what would the introduction be? I mean, I'm trying to think now, and I listen to you every day. Of course I do.
The introduction is, this is BBC News on the date. I'm Moira Stewart. Good morning.
I'm genuinely having a panic attack that my kids are late for school.
And that's the bit that Charlotte did.
Yes.
It's possible. I think Moira's voice would be difficult to impersonate.
Don't encourage Rob.
No, on this account, have a go.
All right, I'll give it a try.
But if it doesn't work, you may never do Ronnie Corbett again.
No. That's too great a risk.
So,
what about Lee?
Lee, yes, tell us about how you got into judo in the first place.
Well, how does anyone get into judo? I was watching Kung Fu Panda.
And ruled out Kung Fu.
My kids loved it, and so they decided to take up martial arts, and they decided to take up judo. So I took my children to the judo, and it was a bonding thing. I said, all right. They said, come on, Daddy, you do it. So I joined the adult class whilst they did the kids' class.
How many weeks have you been going to judo?
I'd say I've been through about 30 lessons.
So it's like a weekly class
Correct.
for judo, but how does the tournament work?
Well, after
Is that on the same day as the class, or...?
Yeah, so we do it every week. We have a class, and then he said to all the men and the women in the class, he said...
Who's he?
Charlotte.
No, I haven't got to Charlotte yet. I haven't got to Charlotte.
So I thought she was your judo instructor.
She is.
She is?
She is, yes.
But he said...
Let me finish. I said tournament. Tournament? I've already done far. I said, I'll do a tournament when you have a sex change, mate. So she said, next week we're going to have a little bit of a tournament between you lot. So I thought it was just all a bit of fun, so I turned up the following week, ready for my tournament, and I got there a bit early, dropped the kids off, but the adult class starts a bit later, and Saw the pub. Went over. And I was chatting with the other bloke, who's one of the dads.
All right, so you're both in your judo gear.
Yes.
What's the name for that?
I call it the white dressing gown.
And she's come bowling in.
So she's come bowling in. I said, bowling's next door.
Why is she in the pub?
Because she's looking for us, and we've gone on a bit late.
Oh, you've got...
Yeah,
right.
well, actually, what actually happened was we were a bit late.
Yeah, what did actually happen?
She's walking past the pub. We were actually at the bar, sort of looking out the window, having a pint and a chat, and we literally saw someone just sort of walk past and go... and then come in the pub and tell us off.
Because used to being the star pupils, obviously, you know, you was going to...
That's not how it works in martial arts, Stanley. Not just the star pupils get respect.
Ah.
Everyone is equal.
And what's your favourite move in judo? Because judo is full of a wide variety of stances. And what's the one that really gets Lee thinking, this is
You
for
had to
me?
narrow it down to your favourite 6 or 7.
I think it's probably teppanyaki.
Sorry? That's a starter dish, isn't it?
Well, that's the funny thing. All judo moves are named after dishes. I did the sushi, the teriyaki, and the weird one you're not going to believe, the pot noodle.
If you wanted to demonstrate any moves, the floor is yours.
Oh,
if you feel that would help prove your point.
So, well, what you do is, what would you like to see?
Well, first of all, your opening stance.
OK. Well, don't do it back. Well, an example of a move. Rob, come out here, I'll show you.
Not in a million years.
Get involved.
You started it. You started this, Rob. Do you remember a minute ago when you said, get out there? You're regretting that, aren't you, Rob? Right, stand
How
there.
well have you taught him?
Stand there. Right. So what you do, the first move you'll do...
Bow to him, Rob,
Yeah,
for God's
bow.
sake, or he'll kill you.
Not then you come here.
Brian!
You take a lapel like this.
Yeah.
You'll take a lapel like this.
Yeah.
OK.
Whoa!
Right foot forward like this.
Yeah. Don't you dare.
I will. And then you get like that, and then you sort of lean on, and then you... Sorry, Rob.
They just said in my ear, are you OK, Rob? I'm a BAFTA-nominated actor! So, we need an answer. David's team. Is Charlotte Joe's soothing stranger, Moira's mimicking mate, or Lee's martial arts master?
Well, let's just get Lee out of the way. It's just
Oi,
silly.
oi, come over here and say that.
Yeah, well, it doesn't seem very plausible, but that was a good move.
Well, he goes over easy, though, doesn't he? I think it's more of a... I think Joe, he's an odd mark, but... I don't know, what do you think?
John. I think it's Moira.
Yeah.
I think we think it's Moira. I think on the basis that Lee has shown himself able to push Rob over. And that's not nothing. At the same time, it's not much. Well, hang on a minute. Just the rapping thing, that's just so confusing as a thing that I think I'm going to pretend I've never heard it. So,
You're going to
Team
Moira.
Happy will go for Moira.
The impersonation, the first bit of the news.
Exactly.
OK. Charlotte, would you please reveal your true identity?
My name is Charlotte, and Joe watches my videos to relax on an evening.
Thank you very much, Charlotte.
Thank you.
Which brings us to our final round, Quickfire Lies, and we start with... It's Moira.
On a cold winter's evening, I like to treat myself to a jacket potato with a melted Kit Kat on top.
David's team.
And now the weather.
I mean, it sounds delicious the way Moira puts it. You know, I mean,
Any butter involved in this, or just
No.
a straight Kit Kat?
No, this is, but very, very, very hard skin.
Sorry?
The jacket potato.
Oh, right,
is
so a really crispy jacket
very
with...
crispy,
and
yes.
what sort of steak's the Kit Kat in?
It's melted.
A complete... What about the wafer? That don't really melt, does it, wafer? So...
Well, it adds a sort of an interesting kick.
Chunky or forefinger?
Fair enough. Sorry, you'll have to excuse John. He's not been speed dating before.
I only know the double Kit Kat.
You've not heard of the classic four-finger Kit Kat?
Look, times are hard.
When did this start, Moira? How did you discover this?
Ooh, about 3 years ago.
Really? And what sparked it off?
I thought I like jacket potatoes.
Who doesn't?
I've done the tuna.
Who hasn't?
Let me try the Kit Kat.
Why not?
It's the next one, isn't it?
stage, yeah.
Tuna Kit Kat. Have you ever heard, Moira, of cheese?
Just a couple of years ago, someone introduced you to it. Go, listen, you want to whack a Kit Kat on the jacket potato?
I don't think anyone Moira knows has ever used the phrase whack a Kit Kat on a... I don't think Moira knows anyone at all. Am I right, Moira?
Can I ask more about the cooking process?
It's very, very lengthy.
Moira, don't push it.
I mean, obviously, of course, but at the end of it, you've got a jacket potato with a Kit Kat on it, so it's worth hours and hours of work.
You blast it in the microwave, then you put it in the oven for, about 20 minutes. Then you halve it, then you slap the Kit Kat on top, do another 10 minutes.
So what do you think, David? Is she telling
I
the
think
truth?
it sounds like a disgusting meal.
Am I the only one that thinks that actually sounds really nice? I quite like that.
I like cars and I like chips, but I don't drive over my chips. Not everything that you like should be mashed together in the same...
That's Rich coming from 8 out of 10 cats does countdown.
So what are you going to say, David?
Danny,
I think she's a very sophisticated woman, and I think, very cultured. No way in the world would this lady whack a Kit Kat on a jacket potato.
That's the line we go out on.
Well, I think, all in all, we don't believe it.
So, Moira, truth or lie?
I'm not having it, it's a lie.
And that noise signals time is up. It's the end of the show, and I can reveal that David's team have won by 3 points to 2. But of course, it's not just a team game. My individual liar of the week this week is Danny Dyer. Yes, Danny Dyer, mainly because I'm frightened of what he might do to me if I give it to someone else. Good night. Good evening. Welcome to Would I Lie to You, the show that sorts the facts from the fibs. On David Mitchell's team tonight, a comedian who admits to being a huge hypochondriac, or at least that's what he thinks he is. But what if it's something worse? Please welcome Joe Lycett. And a guest who called his first tour, Who is Nish Kumar? And his second tour, Nish Kumar is a comedian. Please welcome... He spoilt the introduction, hasn't he? It's Nish Kumar. And on Lee Mack's team tonight, a host of Watchdog, who's not only going to be entertaining us tonight, but after the show is going to help me get my PPI back, Nicky Fox. I'm not saying he's posh, but he describes the royal family as new money. It's Miles Jump. And we begin with round one, Home Truths, where our panellists each read out a statement from the card in front of them. To make things harder, they've never seen the card before. They have no idea what they'll be faced with. It's up to the opposing team to sort the fact from the fiction, and Miles is first up this evening.
Whilst on holiday in South Africa, I had a 2-minute conversation with what I thought was my wife, only to discover that a small hippo had wandered into the bedroom.
David's team. What do you make of that?
Miles, describe your wife to us.
Tall, slender, statuesque.
So did the hippo had a very similar voice to your wife?
The hippo was just sort of moving gently around.
They're known for that.
Not in a especially close proximity.
What was the conversation about, and how did you go 2 minutes?
I'll tell you what the conversation was about. It was about me, and I was doing most of the talking, which obviously contributed to my confusion.
Where, in fact, was your wife?
I don't know where she was. She was just not...
Have you ever seen your wife again?
So where were you? I'm guessing that this is a safari scenario, am I right?
It was sort of on the outskirts of Cape Town.
Describe the nature of the structure you were in.
Right.
Is it a building? Is it on the 4th floor of a...
Did the hippo have to get in a lift?
OK, well, it's mainly bungalows. The resort is a collection of sort of bungalow buildings, largely A-frame wooden buildings with a kind of thatch roof.
Why were the doors so big a hippo could get in?
Well, it's a small hippo, isn't it?
How small is a small hippo?
Like a George from Rainbow, or...?
About yay big.
So the hippo was only that big?
Yeah.
It's about the size of a Labrador.
Well, let's be clear. Is that its width or its length?
That is its width, as viewed from behind, and I suspect from the front.
This is worse. Your wife's like the back end of a hippo.
This A-frame bungalow has how many rooms in it?
It's got 2 rooms. At one end, there's a big bathroom, and then there's the rest of it is a very big open-plan bedroom, and it has sort of seating area in the middle of it, and it has a bed at the far end, a very robust bed, and...
A bed you could make love to a hippo on?
That is speculation, but I wouldn't bet against it.
OK, we're in the bungalow, OK?
I'm in the ensuite end.
Yes.
OK. And I'd been shaving and then, you know, shouting over my shoulder. And I realised after a while, I'm not getting a lot back here. And I turned round and I saw that I had not been moaning about my career to my wife, but to a baby hippo.
How long was this baby hippo?
Well, I only saw it from the back, but I imagine, statistically, it'd be, what, probably 3 times as long as it was wide?
OK. So broadly, so it was a sort of as long as this desk?
Nobody measures
or
animals by width.
Well, you do.
I saw a massive snake, it was this big.
So what are you going to say? Is he telling the truth?
I think based on the width, it's a lie.
I think that was a panicked reach for width.
On the basis of the panicked reach for width. I think we'll say it's a lie.
You're going to say that's a lie? OK. Yeah. Miles, were you telling the truth or were you telling a lie?
It is a lie.
Yes, it's a lie. Miles didn't mistake his wife for a hippo whilst on holiday. Joe, you're next.
I also went to the same resort and skinned a cheetah. I am wearing it tonight.
At the end of my first driving lesson, my instructor told me I'd done pretty well, but that I didn't need to make the noises of the car engine as I drove along.
Please, team.
OK, so what kind of noises would you make?
I find it very sort of reassuring to make noises in the car because I find it quite stressful driving. So on the first lesson, this is when it started, and I'd just go.
So you could replicate that if you change gear, you'd do what you just did then.
What's the reversing around a corner backwards noise?
I need to just get into the character, into the position. I go,
And would you
What's weird about that?
Would you make all the noises? Would you do indicators, for example?
No, let's not be silly.
Just to get to the nitty-gritty.
Yes.
Name of driving instructor, because I remember mine, Norman, and we ate Percy pigs.
I don't actually... Do you know what? I don't... Because I had two, because the first one was a friend of my dad's, and he kept shouting, "Don't panic."
It wasn't Clive Dunn, was it?
I don't know the reference.
Who's Clive Dunn? Clive Dunn played...
Holy...
Clive Dunn played
You've
Corporal
just
Jones
fallen
in
into the
Dad's
generation
Army.
gap, Lee.
This audience actually oohed the fact that Joe didn't know who Clive... They were like, oh, you piece
Well,
of
you said it
work.
oohed. Perhaps they were accelerating.
So what do you think, then, Lee? What is your team thinking about this?
Nikki, what do we think, then?
I reckon it might be the truth.
You think it's the truth?
Yeah, I'd say that. Do you, Miles?
I think just Joe is inherently believable, very trustworthy.
OK, well, we'll say it's the truth.
You're saying it's true. Joe, truth or lie?
It is a lie.
So, our next round is called This Is My, where we bring on a mystery guest who has a close connection to one of our panellists. Now, this week, each of David's team will claim it's them that has the genuine connection to the guest, and it's up to Lee's team to spot who's telling the truth. So please welcome this week's special guest, Amy. So, Joe, what is Amy to you?
This is my friend Amy, and I grossly offended her when I made a less than perfect sculpture of her head.
Nish, how do you know Amy?
This is my friend Amy. We became friends after I found her asleep in a box of volleyballs.
Finally, David, what is your relationship with Amy?
This is Amy. She is the charity shop worker who sold my shoes whilst I was otherwise engaged trying on a pair of cowboy boots.
Lee, where do you want to start?
Nish, remind us again, Nish?
I found her in a box of volleyballs.
First of all, where were you where there was a box of volleyballs?
I was working at a leisure centre just after I left school. And Amy was also working there over the summer between school and uni.
Right.
And they sent me to check on the volleyballs.
Well, just check on the volleyballs.
That's a good job from you, guys.
Make sure the volleyballs aren't messing around. Has your manager recently been watching Toy Story?
I believe the technical term was conduct inventory. So I was just
You're
trying
supposed
to make
count
sure.
them.
Yeah, you're supposed to count them. And it turned out that what she was doing was because no one really wanted to play volleyball, she'd found the perfect spot to have a mid-work sleep in.
How big was this box?
It was, like, woman size.
Could she stretch woman size?
Yeah.
You've heard of a volleyball coffin? That's how they transport volleyballs. Yeah.
So you opened it up and you saw...
A sleeping woman.
Amongst all these volleyballs? How many were there?
I think probably, like, 35.
You see, you've just said to me that this box was woman-sized. Now, the largest woman I've ever seen is still smaller than 35 volleyballs. I've used this as a chat-up line. If a woman says, "Oh, I feel a bit fat in this," I'll always go, "Don't be silly, you look less than 35 volleyballs for me." So did you wake her up?
Yes. And so we became friends because then I would also often have a nap
In the volleyballs?
In the volleyballs.
What was her job supposed... What was she supposed to be doing at the time?
Perhaps she was sent to count the volleyballs earlier. Become bored by the monotony of the process. The boss kept... I keep sending people to count the volleyballs and they never come back.
Working at the leisure centre, Nish, what else did your job demand of you?
Basically, all-round dog's body, so I would work on the front desk sometimes.
I thought you said all-round ball games.
So everything except rugby.
Bowls, David.
What?
They're not totally spherical in bowls. That's
Are
why
they not?
That's why they curve.
I would say, colloquially, they're still round, though.
Oh, hello. It's all kicking off at Bridge Club.
right. Who else would you like to quiz?
OK, Joe, what situation were you in where you were sculpting her head?
I have an office in Birmingham where I live.
That'll do. So, yeah, I totally believe it. I mean, that makes it... You can answer any question you like, I don't mind. You have an office in Birmingham?
Yeah.
But why? Why?
Just to write jokes and be creative in.
So, you went to this office to write jokes...
Yeah.
...and said to your friend, would you like to come along, sit in the corner, and I'll sculpt your head?
I've been looking for a use for all that clay I keep in my office.
Had you just been watching a Lionel Richie video? Hello?
No.
Oh. So, did you know how to do this?
No. But, yeah, I thought practice makes perfect, so I called Amy and...
How long did you spend doing it?
Maybe an hour or so.
Weren't you tempted to just make it really soft, get her face, push it into it, then do the back of her head, and then go, well, at least I've got a mould.
You said she was offended by this sculpture.
Yes, she was offended.
What did you end up with?
It didn't look like her.
What did it look like?
It looked more like Ainsley Harriott.
OK. Now, what about David? I'm looking forward to this. What was it you claimed, David?
That Amy is the charity shop worker.
That's right.
Oh, yes.
Who sold my shoes
Yes.
whilst I was otherwise engaged trying on a pair of cowboy boots.
Can you talk us through the incident, please?
Well, I was in the charity shop.
Which charity shop?
It was a Marie Curie charity shop near where I live.
OK. So I'm setting the scene before this. You're at home, you're thinking, it's about time I got myself some cowboy boots. I'm not willing to commit to a new pair in case I go off the idea.
Just on the very slightest off chance that they don't turn out to suit me and my personality.
Cowboy boots, I'll be honest with you, don't particularly appeal to me aesthetically.
Wow. That surprises
I don't think
me.
they go with what I like to call my style.
Right. Well, how would you describe that style, David?
I think my style is indescribable.
Oh, no, I could describe it.
I think it's best left undescribed.
OK.
I wasn't sitting at home plotting the purchase of some cowboy boots.
No.
I was pottering around near my house, and I saw the Marie Curie shop, and I saw in the window what looked like a nice selection of second-hand novels.
Right.
And I went in, and it wasn't a nice selection of second-hand novels. It was all Ken Follett crap. But I did notice the array of shoes, and I tend to take my shoes off at home and maybe wear slippers or socks. I don't want this to get too sexy. And so...
I need my inhaler.
So what I vaguely was on the lookout for was a pair of everyday, easy-to-put-on, non-lacing shoes that I could keep by the back door in case I needed to pop into the garden for some gardening.
But you said you'd taken some of your shoes to the charity shop.
I was wearing shoes.
So what, you decided to take them off in the shop and hand them to her?
When you go shoe shopping, do you go barefoot? Take you seriously.
No. When I take shoes,
don't keep me waiting. When
I take shoes to the shoe rider shop, I choose shoes that I no longer want. I don't wander around and then go, well, do you know what? You can have these if you want. Why would you do that? You take them ready to give.
I wasn't. It was not my plan.
Rob, can I just say, Rob, you're the only person in the whole of the United Kingdom watching this that isn't following this story.
Well, he said he took off his shoes.
Why do you think he took the shoes off?
To try the other one.
To try the cowboy shoes on.
Oh. Right, sorry. Well, David, I owe you an apology. There you are in the shop.
Yeah. I'm in the shop and I spot these cowboy boots, and to me, they look sort of quite loose and easy to slip on.
What length? Not width, length.
I'd say that long.
About that, so they're coming up to just below the knee?
They're not, you know...
How tall are you, Rob? They're not below...
For me, they'd be thigh length.
Can't see over these.
I would say they're, for a cowboy, they're shortish. But
Leather or suede?
But they're not ankle boots.
Leather or suede?
Leather. And with a sort of bit of, geez, I don't know the technical shoe terms, but sort of like a bit of crenellation sort of flapping on them. I'm just going to have to use the terminology of the medieval castle. It's the only way I have of describing it. Anyway, they look like...
So you saw them? You saw them?
Yeah, I saw them.
OK.
So I thought, you know, I'll try them on.
Yeah.
But they were slightly harder to get on than I imagined.
People in the shop, I imagine, were going, why is David Mitchell trying on cowboy boots?
The shop wasn't as packed as you're imagining. I thought myself to be the only customer there.
Right.
I was soon disabused of that notion.
When did you notice that your own shoes had been sold?
I think, well, I remember I walked to the back of the shop in the cowboy boots, restraining an urge to walk like John Wayne. And when I came back towards the shoe area, I noticed that my shoes weren't there.
And did you see who'd bought them?
I didn't, no.
I'm picturing a scene where you walk out the shop and you walk home, and then a few minutes later, a cowboy goes up to the counter and says, "Excuse me, I was just trying on a pair of..." And then behind him a clown, and then a sailor. And this just goes on all day, round and round.
Yeah. David, I don't know you. I've just got to know you today, and I admire you very much. But what I know of you from watching you on TV, the cowboy boots, it's just... I can't buy it. I can't imagine you'd even try them on.
Well, in which case, then you should say that I'm lying.
That I might do.
So, we need an answer. Lee's team. Is Amy Joe's miffed model, Nish's sleepy sidekick, or David's sneaky shoe seller?
I'm more inclined to believe Nish myself.
You believe Nish?
Yeah.
Because?
Because, I don't know, I just think Amy and Nish look like they could be really good mates.
Miles, you think?
Well, I was looking at her very closely. While Joe was talking about sculpting her, she looked quite icy about the whole thing. And, of course, she was very offended in the stories, but during David's story, she looked, I mean, understandably baffled.
I think it might be Joe, actually. What do you think?
Well, I'm beginning to think. I mean, it doesn't even matter what I think. I mean, your own... I mean, my job really is to agree with you, Lee. I mean, you are a man...
Are we trying to reenact Dad's Army?
Do you think that's wise, sir? I think... I think Nish is telling the truth.
You think Nish is telling the truth? You think Nish is telling the truth?
Yeah.
Right, in that case, I'll go with what my team say.
You're saying it's Nish?
No, I'm overruling. I'm going with Joe.
Are you seriously?
I feel it's Joe.
All right. Amy, would you please reveal your true identity?
I'm Amy and I'm Joe's friend.
Here. This is the sculpture that Joe Lycett... Oh, good Lord. This is the sculpture. Get ready for this. You will never, in your lifetime, witness a worse sculpture than this. Poor woman. Yes, Amy is Joe's miffed model. Thank you very much, Amy.
Thank you.
Which brings us to our final round, Quickfire Lies, and we start with... It's Nikki.
Right. I love gravy so much that I freeze it into ice lollies to suck in the summertime.
David.
You maniac.
What sort of gravy? Beef, chicken or vegetable?
Beef gravy would be my gravy of choice.
Do you only make lollies out of the beef gravy?
If I'm desperate...
Yeah, you do sound desperate.
I might possibly choose another gravy.
Do you use granules?
I try and avoid granules, because I think if you're going to have a gravy ice lolly, you might as well do a posh one.
Yeah.
And everybody thinks it's strange. Yeah, everyone thinks it's strange.
Do you think it's strange?
No, because I think if I made you one, you suck that gravy lolly.
Need the inhaler again?
Yeah.
You suck that gravy lolly and you'll be like, Nikki...
There's the slogan right there. It markets itself. You suck that gravy lolly.
So, David, what are you going to say? Is this the truth, or is Nikki telling a lie?
What do you think?
I think it's true.
You think it's true?
I think she's off her nut. And I think she's made a gravy lolly.
I think it's a lie because I think... No, I can't believe I'm having to justify this. It's a gravy lolly. I think it's a lie.
I think overall, I think it's a lie.
I think it's a lie. OK. Nikki, was it the truth or was it a lie?
It is, in fact, a lie. But I'm glad you believe it.
Yes, it's a lie. Nikki doesn't freeze gravy to use as ice lollies. Next. It's Lee.
On a recent train journey under cover of darkness in a tunnel, I secretly switched bananas with the stranger opposite because his looked better than mine.
Hey.
So, why was there no lighting in this train? Were you perhaps travelling in the 1870s?
Because it was daytime, and in daytime, they don't turn the lights on in a train.
What? So they were unaware of the tunnels on their route?
The tunnel was so brief and so quick, they didn't bother.
So it was a very brief, so it's basically like an extended bridge?
It was a shortcut.
So it was very quick tunnel, but
very
nevertheless
quick tunnel.
you had time to swap bananas.
No more than 5 seconds.
Can you demonstrate how you did it?
Yeah. I had my banana, and I was looking at it thinking, you know, when yours is just a bit... It's not... I like them really yellow. I don't like that bit where they're just starting to go a little bit black.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just a little bit. But it was close enough where I thought, given an opportunity, I reckon I could swap that banana, because he was reading his paper. I thought, he's not concentrating on that banana. He hasn't fully engaged with the colour.
So he was reading his paper.
Yeah.
So he was holding a newspaper with 2 hands, and then in one of the hands he also had a banana.
No, it was on the table in front of... Have you been on a train recently?
The point is, he wasn't holding the banana.
I'm not that bold.
No, fine.
I'm not that bold. That would have been awkward in the darkness. Hey, what's going on? What's going on? Yeah, what's going on? And then the lights come on and I go... Mine was sitting on the table, his was sitting on the table.
OK, and you saw the 2 bananas. Yours has gone a bit manky. His is pristine.
Just fractional.
Just on the turn.
Just enough that I could get away with swapping it.
So it's plausible that he might think, oh, I thought this banana was fresher than this.
But it was like a film.
It's been 14 seconds later. Maybe it's just turned.
Did you have any reading materials, or were you just sat...
Don't mock me, you know I can't read. I was simply entertaining myself, as ever, with my Etch-a-Sketch. And I remember thinking... I'm looking at it, he's not looked at that banana once. That's wasted on him, but that's irritating me. Yeah. So and I just thought, like that, put it back in its case, I'm very protective of it. And I thought, could I? And I was tempted to do it. I thought, no, I'll never get away with this. And then suddenly, it was pitch black.
I'm struggling to envision a tunnel that takes 5 seconds to get through, but is...
Well, do you know those really long tunnels?
Yeah.
Imagine one of them, but really short.
But that renders the whole carriage just a complete blackout.
Yeah. Well, you know, all I could say, this is one important factor you're missing. Bright sunshine, eye adjustment.
Because the effect of the bright sunlight directly on your eyes...
Did I not mention how bright it was?
Very, very bright.
Oh, it was bright. I can't help thinking he wasn't reading that paper, he was shielding him. In fact, the banana was so bright, I think the bananas actually grew on the train.
Yeah. It's a moment of complete blackness.
Black!
You're almost blinded in this blackness.
Blinded. You know, it was so dark. You know when it's so dark, you think, God, it's dark, I could nick a banana.
But that's my whole point. How did you manage to put your hand on his banana to be so... I mean, you must have rummaged around.
No, I didn't rummage. Picture the scene. The Etch-a-Sketch is away. He's behind his paper. And I'm looking, and his banana's definitely reachable, and he's not looking, and it's there. And even before we go through the tunnel, I'm tempted. I'm going, Could I? No. Could I? No, there's no one looking here, there's no one looking... And I'm so close to making that decision.
Yeah.
It goes black! Get it! Get it! Go! That's 4. There she goes. And I'll never forget his face. I will never forget his face. He literally... It made a bit of a noise, a bit of a kerfuffle, and the lights came, and he literally went... I knew I'd got away with it.
So what do you think, David?
What do you think?
Absolute nonsense.
All right.
What do you
Just
think?
listen. Give me another go. It was a pomegranate on a rickshaw.
I mean, it's a very, very rich, complete picture that Lee has painted.
Yes.
But I don't think he... I simply don't think he would
Grapefruit in a
steal
brothel?
someone else's banana.
I think he looks low on potassium as well.
Yeah.
So, for you, it is a lie. Lee, were you? This is everybody's on tenterhooks to find out. Were you telling the truth? Or was it maybe a lie?
What do we think, Tim?
No. This is the one where you know the answer
I
and you
know
say.
Oh, I see. In that case, it's a lie.
Yes. Amazingly, it's a lie. Lee didn't secretly switch bananas with a stranger on the train. Well, that noise signals time is up. It's the end of the show. I can reveal that David's team have won by 4 points to 1. Thank you for watching. Good night. Good evening and welcome to Would I Lie to You at Christmas, a very special edition filled with festive fibs. On Lee Mack's team tonight, a comedian and actor who has played a social worker and a nurse. So please, stand outside your front door and clap for Joe Brand. And an ex-EastEnders star who loves a traditional Christmas day where he gets run over, his wife has an affair, and the Queen Vic burns to the ground. It's Joe Swash. And on David Mitchell's team tonight, a comedian and host of the show Travel Man, or as it was renamed for 2020, Staying in the House Man, it's Joe Lycett. And a talented and versatile actor who tonight is taking on her toughest role yet, pretending to be happy being on David's team. It's Ruth Madeley. We begin with round 1, Home Truths, where our panellists read out a statement from the card in front of them. Now, to make things harder, they've never seen the card before. They have no idea what they'll be faced with. It's up to the opposing team to sort the fact from the fiction. Joe Lycett is first tonight.
Oh, yes, OK.
I once had a fight with a flamingo and won.
Last Christmas, the biggest family row in the Lycett household was over how many doof-doofs there are in the EastEnders closing theme tune.
Oh.
Lee Mack's team.
So you mean the bit just before the music starts, I think, I mean, obviously, you know, you were in EastEnders.
Yeah, but I never actually got myself a duff-duff.
Oh, no.
I was there for 6 years, no duff-duff.
You never had a duff-duff?
I had one duff-duff, and Wendy Richards was in it, and then when they took it to the edit, they zoomed in on her and cut me out of the duff-duff. How many duff-duffs did your family decide there were?
So, it was a generational gap. So
Yes.
me and my sister thought there were 8, because there are 8. My parents thought there were 7.
Give us your 8.
Doof, 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 doof.
Oh, I think you're wrong.
Excuse me, though.
No,
That can't be. That's not how many doof-doofs there are.
Yeah.
That's how many doofs there are. If the unit is doof-doof, then there are 4.
He does have a point,
That's
you
why
know.
David has never been invited to someone's house for Christmas.
I think you stuck too many duffs in there.
Go on, you do it.
Duff, 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 duff. Do, 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 do.
No. That's not it.
You were in the show! Did you, at the end of the night, find out exactly how many duff-duffs there were, or did you just leave it, we're right, you're wrong, without no
Yeah,
sort
basically, we didn't rewind.
So we don't
were on
actually know
something else.
right now with our 8.
Well, we do. It's 8. It is
Well,
8.
you ain't really checked it, have you?
Yeah, I have.
You have checked it.
But you didn't
because
check it
I've
at the
watched
time.
EastEnders and I know.
But I've watched EastEnders, but I don't ever count...
I don't think you have.
I think there's only 3, because I think the fast ones at the end aren't duff-duffs, they're something else.
Like a little...
I'm sort of with Joe. I think it's probably 2 to 2.5 doof-doofs or 4 to 5 doofs
What's a
before
half
the
doof?
nature, the nature of the noise changes such that it can no longer be labelled either a doof or a half doof-doof.
So, yes. Well, bearing that in mind and knowing your love for music, give us your rendition, then, of the end drum.
Now, I feel that would be... I'd be humiliated.
Would you like me to give you a lead-in, a dramatic moment?
No, thank you.
This is Elsie, who works in a laundry.
Who's Elsie? She was never in EastEnders.
She's a character that I've created.
Well, what about Dot Cotton? Come on, you get her.
You look a bit like Dot Cotton.
You do a bit.
You've definitely
Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm going to try it.
Oh.
I think that's Mick Jagger you're doing it.
Yeah, I don't know what's happened to my laundry. It's gone somewhere.
Doof, 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 doof.
All right. What are you thinking?
What, that sounds like the washing machine's broken.
See, I think after about 5 minutes, I would have just gone to the YouTube and had a little look on there. I think he's lying.
I always like to go counterintuitive, so I'm going to say I think he's lying as well. Yeah.
OK, I'm going to have to say lie.
You're going to have to say lie. OK, Joe Lycett, truth or lie?
It's a lie.
And Joe Swash, there's a treat for you, because you said you never had a doof-doof. We're going to give you one tonight. Whatever you want to say, something dramatic, and it's going to come in. It's going to happen.
And trust me, it doesn't matter what you say, because we're all just going to be counting.
OK, Joe, here we go.
Is it my baby?
Oh, there's 9!
It's 10!
9!
It's 9. It's 9.
There was 9 in there.
It's 9. Joe Swash, you're next.
OK. One Christmas, I accidentally put the wrong address in my mum's sat-nav, and instead of driving to Lakeside, she drove all the way to the Lake District.
Right, David's team.
Geographically, where was the starting point?
Well, it's London, yeah. It was a long time ago. It was when the sat-nav, remember it was called Tom Tom?
Actually, it wasn't called Tom Tom.
What was it called?
It was called Tom 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 Tom.
So I've always had slight dyslexia as a kid. So I sort of...
Oh, so maybe it wasn't a Tom Tom. Maybe it was your MOT.
Could have been, yeah. I think I just put it in wrong. And
Well,
then...
yes, obviously that's not a detailed explanation of what went awry.
What would you like to know?
What did you type in the word Lakeside?
I stuck in LA, put in the first couple of letters, and then it predicts the word for you.
You put LA in, your mother drove off towards Los Angeles, you went stop, stop, and you saved it with a K.
Yes.
And then you thought, right, fine, that's fine. There can't be more than one place beginning LAK. It finished Lake Windermere, off she drove.
No, I must have put in the lake, and then it filled the rest in, and I must have just pressed Lake District, taking it for granted that...
And you are saying, with a straight face, that your mum, was it just your mother?
No, it wasn't my mum. It was my mum and her next-door neighbour, Debbie.
Right.
They just kept driving until it got dark. And then what my mum said is that they got so scared because it was just them two in the car and they didn't know where they were going. My mum doesn't know how to do the sat-nav and all that business, that they thought it would be safer just to continue to where they were going and then just work out what to do the next day. So they went to the Lake District.
They arrived in the Lake District?
Yes. It took them like 6 hours. Yeah, they got
It took what? 6 hours?
Yeah, they took some wrong turns. So they had to get a hotel and stay in the Lake. I swear...
Come on.
I'm telling you...
I have to say, we've been doing this show for many years, and Rob has never, in the middle of it, gone, no!
So after about 3 hours in, they got so far that they weren't going to come back in the same day. They were going to continue and stay where they were.
Yeah.
Debbie phoned her husband, which I think they should have done a lot earlier because he's a cab driver.
Even if he wasn't, it would make sense, really, to make contact.
So what do they do, Joe? Did they stay over there?
They stayed over.
And then what?
I got a phone call.
Yeah.
They were fuming.
They must have been livid.
The thing was like that. My mum didn't know where anything was. She didn't know how to get to places, so she would follow that sat-nav, regardless whether it took her into the sea. She'd be in the sea. She'd follow it. So
And yet you put the destination in with such little care.
Well, I just didn't think I was going to... Honestly, when she told me, even I was surprised. I asked all the same questions as you asked, like, why didn't you come home? Why did you stay? None of it made sense to me either. But the one thing she said is that they were very scared, they didn't know where they were going, so they just carried on following the blue line to the end of the destination. And then in the morning, they worked out, I think they asked someone in the hotel that they had to stay in, and then the fella reprogrammed it to come back to London the next day.
Joe Lycett, what are you thinking?
I think it might be true. I can see real hurt in him.
It's doable. It is doable with the dyslexia thing.
If it's a lie and you pick up that card, you're not going to follow through on, yes, they discovered halfway through the journey that they were heading to totally the wrong place, but decided that the thing to do was to follow through on the entire journey. It's more plausible that it happened than that Joe invented that just now.
Basically, David said there's more chance your mother's stupid than you are creative.
I think we think true. I think we think true.
It's true that they drove all that way. Joe Swash, was it true or was it a lie?
Yeah, it happened, yeah.
Yes, it's true. Joe did accidentally send his mum to the Lake District. Ruth, you're next.
Right. Because my dog hates loud noises so much, I always put earmuffs on him before we pull our Christmas crackers.
Please do.
Right. What type of dog do you have?
I have a British Bulldog.
The dog don't mind having these on his ears?
No, not at all.
How old is your dog?
He's 2.
If I've got a new dog and we're having Christmas dinner and he don't like the bang, I'll put him in another room. So why am I going to put in all the effort to kind of teach him to put his earmuffs on?
Why would you, like... Okay,
I don't think... Did you say teach him to put the earmuffs on?
I mean,
I don't think she's suggesting go, oi, Bonzo, we're about to pull again, stick them on. The dog's going...
OK, right. OK, Lee, this is genuinely... You have a new puppy, am I wrong?
Well, yes, a fairly new puppy, yes.
Would you, if it was frightened of something and it needed you, would you put it in another room?
We had a dog that was very frightened of fireworks.
Joe?
Sold it. Did you? I don't know if you got advice from a vet or something about what to do, or...
We were given the name of this dog specialist who could help with anxiety.
What was his qualifications?
I didn't read his qualifications.
I suspect he might have been a market trader that also sold earmuffs.
No, they were my earmuffs. They didn't need to give me earmuffs.
OK, so what are you going to say?
Well, I'm kind of neutral about it, because I can understand why you might do something like that.
Who hasn't wanted to dress up a dog? So
It's
I believe
adorable.
She might put some clothes on it.
Have you dressed up your puppy?
Is that a euphemism?
You know it is.
I've had a shower, if that's what you're asking.
So what are we going to say?
So Joe says it's...
A lie.
You think it's a lie?
It's too much hassle. Lie.
I think it's got to be a lie.
OK,
It's got to be, hasn't it?
So you're saying it's a lie. OK, Ruth, was it the truth or were you telling a lie?
You all look like idiots because it was a lie.
Our next round is called This Is My, where we bring on a mystery guest who has a close connection to one of our panellists. Now, this week, each of David's team will claim it's them that has the genuine connection to the guest. It's up to Lee's team to spot who's telling the truth. So please welcome this week's special guest, David. So, Joe Lycett, what is David to you?
This is my neighbour, David. And last year, to save money, we time-shared a Christmas tree.
Ruth, how do you know David?
This is David, and he walked into a charity shop just as I was donating the gift he'd given me a few days earlier.
Right, Ruth's charitable chum. And finally, David, what is your relationship with David?
This is David, and when my daughter lost her beloved toy rabbit, we held up a train so I could board it and grab it.
So there we have it. Lee's team, where would you like to begin?
Joe, next door neighbour?
Yeah.
Well, first of all, why aren't you just buying your own Christmas tree?
Well, David and I decided to save a bit of money. We knew David was going away on Christmas Eve, so he wasn't going to use the Christmas tree after that point. I was working pretty much up until Christmas, so we thought it was a good idea that we
So he
saved
got it from the 1st of December?
He got it on the 12th to the 24th. Then I had it from the 24th to the 1st. I got rid of it on the 1st.
And did you take it decorated?
Yeah.
Just in one, like that, and just plonk it in your house?
So that's why we won't do it again, because we worked out that the savings that we made from sharing the cost of the tree, which was about 60 quid, we saved that, but the amount of baubles that we lost in the transit.
And this was all about saving £30?
Yes.
But, you know, you're doing all right.
David's not.
What was your Christmas setup after the 24th? Did you have people staying with you?
They didn't stay, but they came for Christmas dinner.
For the day?
You remember they came to watch EastEnders?
Yeah.
You had a big row with them, don't you remember?
We had a big row, yeah.
Right, who would you like to question next?
Ruth. Yes. Can you remind us of your...
David's my cousin, and he walked into a charity shop just as I was donating the gift he'd given me a few days earlier.
What was the gift?
What was the gift, first of all?
Right, it's one of those, you know, them really ugly porcelain pig things that open.
Huh?
You know them orange...
Cookie jar?
Yeah, but smaller than a cookie jar. Not big enough for a cookie jar, so you couldn't even use it for that.
So, sorry, you've gone into the charity shop to get rid of this pig thing?
Yeah, that's the only words that can
Your cousin's
describe it.
walked in?
Yeah.
And gone, taking a pig for a walk? What are you doing with a pig? What did you say?
I didn't expect him to be there.
Did you carry on with the process of, like, let's get rid...
Yeah, talk us through exactly what happened after he
Right.
walks in.
Right, David came in because he saw me. There was absolutely no other reason for him to go in the charity shop. You could tell he was really upset, but without wanting
But
to...
did he mention... What did he say?
He went, oh, what are you doing? Like, he just pointed at this pig that I'm holding.
Yeah.
And I panicked, so I said, look, I didn't want to tell you at the time, but I've already got one.
Ah. So when did he actually find out the truth, then?
So I had to call David and tell him I was coming on Would I Lie to You? And I can't stand the thought of hurting anyone's feelings.
So you thought you'd bring him on national television and humiliate him?
No. We've since spoke, and he's lovely.
Right. Now, Lee, what about David? David, remind us of your claim and your statement.
This is David, and he helped me board a train to rescue a rabbit.
First of all, where were you going from?
I was going from London to Cardiff.
With your wife and child?
Exactly.
Was you going there for a reason?
What do you mean by that? You're going to have a reason to go to Cardiff? Oh, you come down here with your Cockney patter. People go to Cardiff just because they want to visit it.
Sorry, mate.
Did you like it there, David?
It was very nice.
Did you
Obviously,
like it?
I'd put Carlisle into the train app, so...
Talk us through what happened.
Well, what happened, we got on the train, and she... this rabbit called Pink Rabbit. It's a pink rabbit.
What's it called?
She calls it Pink Rabbit.
That's it. She's got your sort of creativity.
Thank you. And it's her second favourite cuddly toy.
Who's the favourite?
The favourite is another rabbit. He's called Wiggles.
Wiggles?
Oh, OK.
Aww.
But Wiggles never leaves the house.
Oh, has he got an asbo?
It's better we always know where Wiggles is.
OK.
But Pink Rabbit is the favourite of the toys she will take out of the house.
How had you acquired the rabbit? Where did the rabbit come from?
It was probably a Christmas present at some point. But the thing is, it was around for a couple of years. Among the various, she got lots of toy rabbits and that sort of thing. And then suddenly, and I'm not quite sure why, Pink Rabbit came to favour. It was like Stalin emerging as the front runner of the Politburo. You know,
Are you still doing the bedtime stories?
He wasn't the obvious successor to Lenin, but then a few years later, suddenly he's in charge. So Pink Rabbit has had a meteoric rise.
Right. Yeah. You get off the train at Cardiff.
Exactly.
And when do you realise the rabbit's gone?
When we've got to the hotel and my wife realises, and a look of...
She's married to you and has a breakdown.
Thank you. As always, you've made it so Christmassy. But then she sort of takes me aside and says, I don't think we've got Pink Rabbit.
So at no point has your daughter made any reference to this rabbit, even though it's her favourite rabbit.
I know. The thing is, when we got on the train, my daughter said, can we get Pink Rabbit out of the bag? I want to have Pink Rabbit with me on the train. And it was my strong view that that was a bad idea. That we should keep Pink Rabbit in the bag where we know where Pink Rabbit is and only get Pink Rabbit out when we get to Cardiff. But no, I was overruled. It was apparently fine, and she would keep an eye on Pink Rabbit and not forget about Pink Rabbit.
OK.
So, your wife said to you, Pink Rabbit's gone.
Yeah.
Do you phone the train station? Because Pink Rabbit's on the way back to London.
No.
No?
No. Pink Rabbit is on the way to Swansea.
Yeah.
Where it is going to turn round and then head back to London via, and here's the loophole...
The Lake District.
No, via Cardiff. The train is coming back via Cardiff.
So you know now where the train is headed. So what do you decide to do?
We go to Cardiff station in order to get on it and look for Pink Rabbit.
But you said a cuddly toy.
Oh, yes.
How many children do you have?
One.
Well, of course, classic only child scenario. I've got 5. I would have said the rabbit's dead. Get on with your life. So what happened?
Well, we went to the station.
Yeah.
David was in the sort of glass room / booth next to the barriers.
It's nice that he's brought it with him.
And we went up to him and said, look, we haven't got tickets for the train, but we don't want to get on the train. We want to go and retrieve a toy rabbit. And he looked quite stern and severe, and then nodded and went, yeah, that's fine. And it was a wonderful moment of possibility.
Right. So then what happened?
The train comes into the station. My wife goes to the front of the train to talk to the driver.
She's such a flirt.
And we've worked out where our carriage would be coming in.
Yes.
I get on the right carriage to look for Pink Rabbit, and as it turned out, thankfully find Pink Rabbit, and then get off the train.
The bit we haven't heard yet is that if you have specifically said, I don't think the rabbit should leave the bag, and then you get to the hotel and she says, oh, we haven't got the rabbit. How did that conversation go?
Well, what can I say? I'm a hell of a guy.
But what did you actually say?
I did not say, I told you so.
You didn't say I told you so?
I did not say I told you so.
You might not have said it with your mouth. Did you say it with your eyes?
Oh, well, I can't
Did you go...
affect that, can I? I can't affect what they're doing. They're always admonishing everyone. But no, I didn't say that because I knew my wife would already have been thinking it. It was not necessary for me to say those words because they were already in her brain.
So be honest.
And at some point she is going to say, you told me so, for me, as indeed she subsequently did.
And so
that is when a relationship is working.
We need an answer. So, Lee's team, is David Joe's frugal friend, Ruth's charitable chum, or David's rabbit rescuer?
This is a tough one. I mean, Ruth is... It's not likely, is it?
No, I don't think that's likely.
I'm genuinely torn between David and Joe. I don't know.
I've been in the same situation and lost a teddy bear at the airport, and I was gutted, cried for ages. I'm going to go with David, because I've been there.
I have also been there, so I do feel that this could be true.
I'm aware of, like, how emotionally damaging these situations can be, and for that reason, we didn't buy our children any toys. So it's hard to know.
Fair enough.
Really.
Yeah.
Joe, what did you think? What's
David,
it going to be?
Go with David.
I'll go with David.
We'll go with David.
I'm going to say that David held up the train. OK. David, would you please reveal your true identity?
I'm David, and David and I rescued his daughter's rabbit.
Yes, David is David's rabbit rescuer. Thank you very much, David. Which brings us to our final round, Quickfire Lies, and we start with... It's Joe Brand.
This box contains everything I need to play my family's favourite festive game.
All right, so could you now take the contents out and put them onto the desk, please? Oh. Well, it's a plastic cup. Water. Pen there. Sheet of paper.
Yeah.
Well, it looks exciting.
What you do, right, is you get up the glass.
I'm a bit nervous about what you're going to do. Oh, all right. There we go. A little.
You come up like with a category.
A category, yes.
Yes. Like.
Ah! Sorry, I've got cramp in my foot. Just bear with me a minute.
Like diseases of the knee.
Keep thinking. You're right. That's better, thank you. Carry on.
So you've come up with a category, yes?
Yeah, so, and I'm going to start the game off. So I think of something in that category, and I write that down on a bit of paper.
Yes.
You have got to come up with something from the category.
Yes.
Which is trees.
Yeah.
So you each say a tree, and if anyone says the tree that I've written on the paper, I throw this over them.
Oh, let's play it. Let's play it. We'll give you a category. The category is things you might find in a Christmas dinner. So food items in a Christmas dinner. Right, now fold the paper up. Don't let them see it.
OK.
OK. Now, Joe, Lee and Joe Swash are your sons. They've come home.
No.
They're back from the youth detention centre.
Would you like my friend Robert to play? Yes. Rob, my mum says you can play.
Thanks.
You can come in and have a play. We're all playing the game.
Oh, hang on a minute. No, wait a minute. I'm being told that my desk is not waterproof.
Oh, yeah.
But you're... No, seriously, but this is...
Oh, my God, yes!
I'm being told. Yes. Now, my desk also. I'm so sorry.
Oh, sorry, I've just been told my skin is soluble.
I'm telling you the truth. That's what they're telling me. So remember now, boys, the category is things in a Christmas dinner. Get ready. Here we go. Let's get the tension.
Sorry.
OK.
Yeah.
Lee Mac, something you'd find in a Christmas dinner.
OK, I'm going to go for a... nut roast.
Ooh. Oh, the tension there when she said
That was,
it.
yeah.
Wow. OK. Joe Swash.
A Brussels sprout.
Oh, it's back to Lee.
This is unbearable. Absolutely unbearable. I'm going to go for a carrot.
Ooh.
Oh, Joe Swash.
Pigs in blankets.
Oh, Lee.
Oh, double look me.
Turkey.
Oh, the
Joe Swash.
This is an unbelievably stressful game.
Yorkshire pudding.
What are you talking about?
That's not allowed.
I have Yorkshire pudding in my Christmas dinner.
No, this is...
Yes. Only because it's set the sat-nav for Brussels sprouts.
Gravy.
He said gravy as well.
Gravy.
He said gravy. Lee Mac.
Gravy.
Cranberry sauce.
Joe Swash.
Bit of turkey.
He said turkey. He said turkey.
OK, I'll go with some carrots.
He said carrots.
Right, I'll go with some stuffing.
That's the happiest thing that's ever happened to me.
Was that game genuinely something that Joe plays, or did she just make it up? Truth or lie?
Even if it's not, to come up with that on the spot is brilliant. I'm playing that on Christmas Day.
Oh, it's a brilliant game. If Joe invented that game in the last few seconds, reading off a card, then, well, she'd be a genius.
OK, so what's it going to be? Truth or lie?
We're going to say true.
OK, Joe, this
It's a lie,
incredible Christmas game.
Oh, my goodness.
Truth or lie?
It's true.
Yes, it's true. Joe does play the game every Christmas. Oh, and that noise signals time is up. It's the end of the show. I can reveal that Lee's team have won by 3 points to 2. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Good night.